It's far in the rear. Why does this thing go to do this recording thing? What's that mean?
It means for some reason you're recording.
No, I'm not recording pictures.
I think you're recording a video. No? Well, what's it saying?
I waited. It's not much. I do this for a living. You make movies, videos,
I guess it'll probably be sandwiches. Now I want it.
We're going to get underway in just a few minutes. A couple of our speakers were held up, so we want to wait as long as humanly possible, and then we'll just go ahead and start in about 5 minutes. So network a little bit more, and we will begin shortly. Wow, you guys are good. That's the quickest I've seen a room go silent in a really long time. I appreciate your patience. We actually did have one of our speakers had to go to the emergency room. So that's Dee Emery Ferrero, and we will be thinking of her and hope everything's okay. So Sabrina Liberty is one of our students here at STCC who very generously agreed to jump into her spot. So we're going to be very supportive of Sabrina, who didn't know until about 5 minutes ago that she's going to be sharing her own story of her business, which is a bakery. So she's going to tell you all about that. But I would like to call to order today's celebration of Women in Business Conference. Our theme this year is Create Your Own Future, which I think we all have the capability and the power to do so. And it's going to be really wonderful to hear from our speakers about how they created their own futures. I do want to remind people to please put your cell phones on vibrate if you haven't done so already. I always say that, and then I'm the one whose cell phone rings in the middle of something. Or the speaker panel, I'm not sure. So I'm delighted to have you here. It's my pleasure to introduce Dean Leona Edelman, who is the Dean of our School of Business and Information Technologies, where the Entrepreneurial Institute is now housed. And the School of Business and Information Technologies is the sponsor for today, and it's my pleasure to introduce her to welcome you all.
I don't know why she shook my hand either. Did everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay. I don't know why she shook my hand either. I see her every day, and I talk to her every day for about 20 minutes. In either case, it is my privilege to introduce you here to the campus. I know when a lot of people come here, they say, "Oh, I never knew there was grass inside this fence that goes around the campus." Yes, we have several lovely buildings on campus. Some of them are very old, and some of them are new. This is one of the newer ones. And there are always changes going on in our campus. And right now we're in the process of developing some Wi-Fi lounges all over campus and getting into more technology and encouraging the use of laptops or other PDAs. So there are a lot of changes going on campus, and we'd be delighted to tell you about them at any time. But in either case, the future, the topic today is the future. And I'm not going to go into my story. I'm going to let the other speakers do that. I just want to make sure that the message that's getting across is that as you consider your future, you shouldn't be settling for a job. You should be thinking about the future. Something, you should follow a passion or something you like to do rather than something you have to do. And the ideal dream is that you find something you love to do and are able to turn that into a career or an ownership situation. One of the things that we have to do to establish ourselves is make sure we have an identity. And you'll learn about that and some things become obvious. If you look at the program, you'll see my name is Ittleman, I-T-T-L-E-M-A-N. Most people think that's a misspelling. There should be some letter before the I. So I've spent my entire life walking around saying, oh yeah, my name is Leona Ittleman, and they go, spell that please? And I say it's like little man without the L. And they say, oh, that's very funny. But, you know, I may laugh about it and tell them something about it. Like how the dry cleaner who files things alphabetically can never find my clothes because he doesn't really believe that my last name begins with I, so he always files it under little man. But in any case, what's important is when I go back to those people for a second time, whether it's an administrative assistant in some office, whether it's trying to get a doctor's appointment, whether it's visiting someone else on campus who might not be sure who I am, they say, oh yeah, you're Leona Little Man. You're very funny. So for one reason or another, they remember me. And so I think as you think about today, you can think about what you remember about these people, what they've accomplished and what they're going to do. And they'll each stand out for different reasons, probably a lot better than mine. But in either case, welcome to the campus. We look forward to a delightful program, an interesting and entertaining one, and hopefully one that you'll learn from. So again, welcome to STCC.
There we go. So we're going to start today. Actually, we're going to begin today with Katie Davio, who I had the pleasure of meeting a number of years ago, the very first year that we ran a business plan competition for the high schools in the region. And Katie came and presented her business as a student at Long Meadow High School, and her business was Lanceware. I remember her presentation vividly because she basically blew everybody else out of the water with her presentation, and was our very first winner in the business plan competition. And she has since gone on to graduate high school, go to college, graduate, and she is now actually, in fact, my own personal insurance agent, and is probably the best insurance agent I've ever had in my lifetime. How's that for support for your insurance agent? But she's going to share her story with you and talk about what she's done, how she's gotten there, and her steps along the way. So let's please welcome Katie Davio.
Good morning. Oh, right in. Okay. Can you hear me? Is that okay? Yeah. Thanks for that lovely introduction. That was so nice. I never knew I was the best insurance agent. I love hearing that kind of feedback. That's awesome. Well, good morning, girls. My name is Katie Davio. Actually, good morning, gentlemen, as well. I'm an insurance agent with Liberty Mutual Insurance over in Long Meadow. I'm really delighted to be here today to get to know all of you and get to talk to you and tell you my story. Today I'm going to speak to you about my achievements, how I got to be where I am today, what exactly an insurance agent does, some of you might be wondering, and some of the life lessons that I've learned along the way. First, I want to commend all of you for being here today. Being part of this conference is an awesome opportunity for all of you. I remember sitting right where you are now when I was invited to attend a Women in Business conference very similar to this one. When I was in high school, I was invited by my high school entrepreneurship teacher. Some of the students saw it as an easy day out of school, but I saw it as an opportunity to learn from other successful people, get ideas for the type of career that I might be interested in, and build relationships with women who could provide me with guidance and mentoring. So this leads me to one of my first lessons, lesson number 1. Never turn down an opportunity or an invitation to meet and network with people in your business community. You never know who you're going to meet and what piece of advice that you will learn from them. I actually met Diane Sabato when I was in high school through my involvement in my entrepreneurship class, and now 10 years later we're still friends, and I'm her insurance agent. You may want to know, you may not know what you want to major in when you get to college, or what type of career you want, or what is waiting for you when you get to college, and that's okay. But I can tell you that this is a very exciting time in your lives. You will have the rest of your life to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. I remember when I was in high school, I was dead set on being an orthopedic doctor. I watched all the medical shows on TLC, and I took lots of honors science classes in high school to prep me for pre-med school once I got to college. My career plans changed completely in my junior year of high school. I took a course called entrepreneurship, which you're all very familiar with. And I had a very interesting assignment. Have you ever had one of those assignments that you get in class and you think, well, this is just another homework assignment? And sometimes those just another homework assignments can sometimes change your entire life. Our class had an assignment, and it was to develop a product. We had to market it, we had to write a business plan for it, and ultimately we had to create it and sell it. My class decided to design a Thanksgiving Day Classic football t-shirt. We were going to sell it at our annual Thanksgiving Day Classic football game. So in the freezing cold on Thanksgiving Day, my friends and I stood at the ticket windows, the snack stand, the bleachers, and we were selling our t-shirts. The shirts were a huge hit with all the fans at the game, but there weren't enough students to sell the shirts. There was a lot of students that didn't even show up to sell that day. So we had all these shirts, and we didn't even break even. We were really, really disappointed as a class. We had a lot of leftover t-shirts, and we didn't even come close to making a profit. And I really felt like we had failed, but I was determined to turn things around and find a way for our class to make a profit. So I decided to start my own business, and I called it Lancewear, after our high school's mascot, the Lancer. I petitioned to create my own independent study program with my guidance counselor. I got it approved, and I set up an office within the school and organized my schedule to have 2 hours of independent study a day, which I devoted to running the business. So this leads me to briefly interrupt my story for my lesson number 2 for all of you. If there's something you want to do it, don't sit around waiting for someone to give you a stamp of approval. Go get the stamp yourself. My high school wasn't about to create and register me for an independent study. I had to develop that independent study on my own. Provide reasons as to why it would be a valuable piece of my high school education. When you have an idea, you just can't give up. Find a way to make it happen. So you're probably wondering what the heck Lancewear was. I designed a line of Lancer logo wear. It was clothing that students, teachers, and parents could wear to show off their school and town spirit. I worked with a local supplier and presented him with a business case to front me the startup money to purchase samples of the apparel so that I could show it off to my prospective buyers. As soon as I was up and running, I sold my sweatshirts, my t-shirts, and polos at every chance I got. I sold them at sports games, I sold them at school events, to teachers and friends. I even sold them at parent-teacher conferences. If there was an opportunity for me to sell those t-shirts, you better believe I was there. And did they ever sell? I was able to recover all the losses from our class project and make a profit. I used the profits to create a startup fund for future young entrepreneurs at Long Meadow High. As I was building my t-shirt business, I met Diane Sabato from STCC. She became a great friend, a mentor, and a coach to me. She encouraged me to write a complete business plan for Lancewear and helped me register for the Young Entrepreneurial Scholars Business Plan Competition. So after months of spending countless hours writing my business plan and endless runs in front of the mirror practicing my speech, I was ready for that competition. The morning of the competition, I thought to myself, I just can't believe I'm here. All this hard work, up to 11, 12 o'clock every night, practicing, working so hard on my speech, I was finally there, and I was being considered a young entrepreneur. Then when I got there, I found out that I was picked to present first in front of a panel of very serious-looking judges, and I was one of the only girls there. I took a deep breath, I put a bright big smile on, and I just went for it. I presented my business plan to the judges with all of my heart and passion, and I made it past the first round onto the semifinals. In the end, I won first place. My Lansomware company won over 10 dives. Sorry guys in the room. Afterward, I began to think, maybe I wasn't just selling t-shirts, maybe I wasn't just a girl, maybe I was onto something that was really, really great. Really, one of the best moments was the award ceremony when I was watching the looks on all the guys' faces. It was just so awesome for me to be in high school and just to see the look that was clearly written across their face. I can't believe this girl just beat me. I went on to be named the Young Entrepreneur of Western Massachusetts. It was an incredible honor to be recognized and awarded for my business passion at age 17 in front of 500 people. It was one of the best moments of my high school career, and it was that night at the awards dinner that I knew that I was not meant to be a doctor. I was meant to be in business. So I was accepted to Bentley College Business School, and I was really excited and anxious to gain some real work experiences to further my knowledge and to start building a resume. I had spent many summers babysitting and working retail, but I was really ready for the next step, something a little bit more impressive. The summer after my senior year in high school, I worked as an auditor for the baby care company, Bolthouse Farms. You might have seen these in Big Y. They're on sale all the time. I spent my entire summer on the road, traveling around from grocery store to grocery store, setting up marketing displays, conducting juice audits, and talking with the produce managers about Bolthouse's line of fresh squeezed juices. It was exciting, but carrots and juice weren't really my thing. I wanted a job with a Fortune 500 company, with a real office instead of an office out of my car, and coworkers that I could interact with throughout my day. This leads me to lesson number 3. Try a little bit of everything. When I was given the offer to work for Bolthouse Farms after high school, I really didn't think that auditing baby carrot displays was really all that glamorous. In fact, I didn't really know if it was fun, and I really didn't even know what auditing meant. A job that's not fun, I thought to myself, but the pay was good, and it was an opportunity, so that I took it. I realized that I didn't have to audit baby carrots forever, but I needed that internship experience for my resume so that I could continue to achieve bigger things. During my first semester at Bentley College, I reached out to the Career Services Department. Hopefully all of you will get to know this office when you're in college. I had countless meetings with the folks at Career Services because I wanted to create an excellent resume. The best piece of advice that I have to give you is that you should get to know the Career Services people as a freshman so they can help you build a resume and find a really great job. The Career Services office taught me that big corporations only spend 60 seconds looking at your resume. And if recruiters don't like what they see, your resume gets passed over and the job goes on to someone else. Believe me when I tell you, I was in that office nearly every week. I knew the office staff's names, I even knew their kids' names. But they helped me use the right words and they create the right layout so that recruiters would stop to notice me and my resume. Needless to say, I got an awesome internship that summer after my freshman year of college at Aetna, which is a health insurance company in Hartford. I worked in their marketing department and I wrote survey questionnaires, I interviewed companies who used Aetna insurance, and I interviewed hospital medical directors who were looking to possibly do business with Aetna. It was a great learning experience, but I learned that the health insurance industry was not really for me either. The important thing about internships is not only do they help to develop and build your resume, but they also help you learn about what types of careers that you like and that you don't like. I knew I liked marketing, but not the type that involved numbers, figures, pie charts, and questionnaires. I really wanted to find a career that would be perfect for me, and I just didn't know what it was yet. But I knew that it wasn't carrots, and I knew that it wasn't healthcare. So are you ready for lesson 4? Your college's Career Services office can help you locate an internship in your town. So I strongly encourage you to reach out to these folks. Whether you've had a job or not, it's never too early to start seeking internship experiences. Once you graduate from college, you're going to be looking for graduates who have the most experiences, and internships are really where you get those experiences. Don't be afraid if you don't feel like you know much about working in a company. Internships are meant to be a learning experience, and employers don't expect you to know everything. It's their commitment to teach you the skills and strategies that you need to complete your internship. When your internship is over, you can feel proud of everything you've accomplished, that you made, and add them to your resume. I have another tip for you. Treat your internship as if it was truly your job. Your managers and fellow employees will always be watching you and evaluating your future potential with their company. If they spot a strong and motivated and dedicated worker, they might even ask you to return for the following summer or offer you a position when you graduate. I want to tell you a really quick story about a girl that I met while I was at Bentley College. I was a freshman and she was a senior, and then we became friends. She was shocked to learn that as a freshman, I had already written a resume and was applying for summer internships. She had confided in me during our friendship that she had never had an internship before, and she was really scared about her future employment destiny when she graduated. Many of her friends who had an internship almost every summer of their college years already had a full-time job lined up before they even graduated from college. It wasn't that she couldn't get an internship, it's just that she never bothered to try. I had a job in the career services office. Yes, I was there so much, they gave me a job. And I saw her come in and out all of the time for interviews, and she never got hired. She was desperate to find a job before she graduated, but recruiters told her over and over again that she simply didn't have any experience. It wasn't until months after college that she actually found a job, but unfortunately it wasn't even in her field of study. She found a job working at Nordstrom's. Don't get me wrong, shopping discounts at Nordstrom's sound really awesome to me, but I felt really bad for her knowing that she didn't get the job that she really wanted. Her story is proof that companies like to hire college graduates with internship experience. So after deciding that carrots and healthcare weren't for me, I went back to Bentley College for my sophomore year, and I decided that Bentley College was also not for me. So I applied to transfer to UMass, and I was accepted to UMass's Eisenberg School of Management, and came home to start the rest of my sophomore year at UMass. That January, I applied early to MassMutual's summer internship program. I had driven by their big brick building so many times, and it seemed like such a popular place for people to work. I received a call back from a recruiter days later, offering me an interview with the head of women's markets. To my great happiness, I was hired to start immediately. For my first day in women's markets, I loved it. I knew I had finally found a passion. Women's markets was a sector of the marketing department whose overall initiative was to promote financial literacy for women and encourage women to start financial planning early. You may be thinking, what the heck is financial planning? But you don't realize it that many of you have probably already been doing some financial planning while you've been configuring how you and your family will pay for your first year of college. Will you use savings? Will you take a student loan? Will you try to apply for scholarships? These are types of questions that you ask yourself when you're planning on how you will afford college. While working in women's markets, I learned so much. Women's markets was focused on supporting and encouraging other women to grow, be strong, be independent, and to be successful in all aspects of their lives. One of the things that I learned to do was to boost a woman ahead of you and pull another one from behind you. You can do this in school by helping your classmate with a tough homework assignment or helping her study for a difficult exam. You can introduce another girl to a club or campus organization that you're a part of, or help a girl find a work-study job. These are just some of the ways how you can boost a woman ahead of you and pull another one from behind you. And this is how women support each other to achieve success. During my internship, I proved to my manager that I was invaluable to her team. Through my hard work, my motivation, my devotion, and my team player attitude. When my internship was over, she hired me to work part-time in women's markets while I attended school full-time. My junior and senior year of college were not easy, trying to juggle working and going to class. But when you have a drive and a passion, it really can be done. As a part-time employee at MassMutual, I was even able to take advantage of an amazing employee benefit called tuition assistance. Simply for working for the company, they paid for part of my school tuition, an absolutely amazing gift to me. Not only was I gaining real-world experience at a very early age and getting paid for it, but having some of my school paid for too just made all my weekly struggles really worth it for me. Did you know that women comprise 51% of the U.S. population, and that women have been outnumbering men in colleges since 1979? You girls are our future leaders. As young people, you and I have so much control over our lives, but it's important to think about our futures early. As a little girl, I remember my mom asking me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I told her, I want to be rich. Who doesn't, right? The hard part is that it's easier said than done. That's why it's important to set goals for ourselves and plan out steps to reach those goals. I graduated from the Eisenberg School of Management, and I started thinking about how much I loved the idea and feeling of owning my own business. I had so many fun learning experiences working at MassMutual, but that entrepreneurial fire was burning inside me, and I had to figure out my next career step. I really liked working in the insurance industry, but I wanted a job where I could determine my own destiny and drive my own earning potential. I ended up applying for an insurance agent position with Liberty Mutual Insurance after graduating from college. The position immediately intrigued me, but the thought of having to sell a product to strangers in order to make money was a little scary and intimidating to me. I knew deep down that I could probably do it, so I ended up taking some risk against all of my fears and accepting the position as an insurance agent and started a week later. My first challenge was to get licensed to sell insurance in the state of Massachusetts. This entailed long, long hours of studying, which I thought was over when I graduated college, and taking 3 very important tests whose score would determine if I would become an insurance agent or if I'd be looking for a new job. Thankfully, I passed all my exams and was off and running, building my own book of business of customers to sell auto, home, and life insurance to. What I really love about my job is that I essentially run my own business, yet I have the support of a Fortune 100 company behind me, giving me guidance and support. The other great thing about my job is that the more time I put into my job, the more money I can earn. The more calls I make, the more people I meet, the more hours I work, it all benefits me in the end. It's all about how hard I work. It's really plain and simple. This leads me to my final lesson for you. Working hard and doing better than average is really the way to achieve the absolute best in your life. There were a lot of times in high school or college that I was so tired and so stressed and so overwhelmed with work that I felt like just doing average. Admittedly, probably even have days like that now. However, I pushed ahead and I didn't let the challenge in front of me bog me down and change the way of doing things. As an insurance agent, I find myself in my office until 7 o'clock at night, calling customers to quote their auto or homeowner's insurance. A lot of nights I feel like going home early, but at the end of my day, I push myself to make one more call, which leads me to one more call, and ultimately one more sale and one more success. I'm still using the skills I learned in high school and in college to develop marketing plans for how I'm going to grow my business and increase my sales numbers. I help people protect the things they value most in life: their car, their home, and their life. I help families and individuals obtain the protection that they need, so if something unexpected happens in their life, they have Liberty Mutual to help them recover their loss and get back on track. Being an insurance agent, although not always an easy job, is a very rewarding career. People depend on me and put their trust in me to give them the right amount of coverage in case the unexpected happens to them. I always have a great feeling of satisfaction when I meet a new client and I help them save a bunch of money on their car insurance, or when I meet someone who has extremely low limits of insurance and I'm able to educate them about their risks and get them some better coverage with Liberty. But I really felt the rewards of my job after the tornado. I have countless customers in Springfield who lost their homes or experienced significant damage. Their lives were changed that day. And watching my customers walk into my office the day after the storm with no home to go to, looking to me for answers and help, I never before realized how much of what I do can really impact someone's life. Being able to reassure my customers that Liberty was going to find them a temporary house to move into, give them money to replace their clothes and other basic needs, and a check to start the rebuilding process was such an incredible feeling to me. Helping people in their worst times, giving them hope is what I do. The tornado helped me to realize that selling insurance is my passion in life. Although I've graduated from college and have completed all of my licensing exams, I still look for ways to advance myself, my knowledge, and my career. This past year, I completed 2 years of studies to earn my LUTCF, which is known as a Life Underwriting Training Council Fellow. It's an advanced designation in life insurance planning and selling. As busy as I am every day, and as time-starved as I can be sometimes, I made time to complete these courses so that I could better myself. I encourage all of you to look for opportunities in your life to advance yourself within your school or within your job. I really enjoyed sharing my story with all of you, and I hope it's inspired you to find out what your passion is. I hope you will also think about the goals that you want to reach. Each one of you is on a path to accomplishing great things, as long as you have the ambitions to do so. I'm going to be here all day, so I'm happy to answer any of your questions. But I'd like to leave you with a quote from Harriet Tubman. She once said, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." So whether you know what you want to do for the rest of your life today or not, the important part is that you're on the road to success. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much, Katie. And I have to say, in the midst of all the drama with the tornado, Katie managed to say to me, "I didn't see a claim for you. Did you have any damage to your house?" Well, I didn't actually have much damage to my house, but the neighborhood all around me, and Katie knew where I lived, was very badly damaged. And so she contacted me and said, "I didn't notice that you haven't filed a claim. Are you okay? Is the house okay?" Which is why she's the best insurance agent ever. So, thank you very much. And we are going to welcome Sabrina Liberty with a huge round of applause for jumping in at the very last moment due to Dee sadly having to go to the emergency room. She owns a cake shop, and it's called Lulu's. She's presently a student at STCC. She's here today in her role as a student volunteer for the event management class that she's taking. But she has agreed to share her story and tell you how she got to be the owner of Lulu's Cake Shop. So Sabrina Liberty.
I'm in the sports and entertainment management major. Kind of, not what you're thinking. I know, it's kind of weird. So I did a lot of various things. As Katie said, you kind of have to try everything when you first start out. I've worked at Big Y. I came here to Stick back in 2003 when I graduated high school. And I did a few semesters and I was kind of really bored and didn't want to do it anymore. So I quit that. I went to nail school. I have a license to do nails, and now I went to school. I tried online college. There we go. We're good. Okay. So, anyways, I tried a lot of different things, and then I decided I didn't want to work anymore. So I met my current husband at the time. I met him, and he was in the Army, and we had decided that we were going to try family and just settle down, whatever. So I said, okay, well, guess what? I'm not working because you're in the Army, so I don't have to work. So I quit working, and I stayed home, and we did have a beautiful son who is now 4. And at that time, I was really bored. My husband was my boyfriend at the time. He ended up getting deployed to Iraq, and I was miserable. I wasn't working. I was home with a brand new baby. I was miserable. So then one day I just started baking. I don't know why, I just wanted to bake. So I baked all day long, and I played around with a few different things, and I ended up making my son's first birthday cake, which was a monkey, and it came out pretty, we called him Monkey, so it was only fitting that I had to make a monkey cake for him. So it came out pretty amazing, and at the party, all of our friends and family were like, well, where did you get this? Where is this bakery? And I said, I did it, and nobody believed me. Nobody, they said, really? You don't do anything, you stay at home all day? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I did. So I ended up taking that, and I was doing a few cakes for a few of my friends, a few family, and my mother actually suggested that I put on Craigslist. So I put a few postings up on Craigslist, and I actually got way more emails than I even expected. There were people looking for children's birthday cakes, there were wedding cakes, there were anniversary cakes. It was just an explosion of cakes. People wanted everything. So I said, okay, well, I'll try a few of them, and I started doing it on the weekends, and just, steady income. It was okay, this is fun, whatever. And then in 2010, I started a website for my business, and then I started a Facebook page. And with those two, it absolutely exploded. It just, I can't even tell you, I was turning people away. I was booked for an entire year for the weekends. And so I decided to make my business official. So I went onto the website for the IRS, and I did some small business research, and I ended up getting a tax ID number, so I made my business official. So then just kind of was busy. I was busy all the time. And then all of a sudden in the winter, it stopped. And then I was like, oh great, I guess I'm gonna move on from this and close this business. But there are still people that needed, you'll see wedding cakes in the winter and some birthday cakes. And then friends talk to friends, and now I have friends that have been having babies for the past 5 years, and every time somebody has a baby, they say, oh, can you do my cake? So I ended up working with my friends for the winter, so that got me through. And then in the summer, in the spring and summer, forget it. It's just outrageous. I actually did a prom cake for Ludlow High School. That's why I went to high school in Ludlow, and I ended up doing their cake for prom. So that kind of got me on the map with those students who went home and told their parents, who told their friends, who told their family, and now my business is great. I am busy every weekend. I have at least two cakes, at least. I make everything from scratch, so I try not to stay away from boxed stuff, but it's been the best idea I've ever had. I mean, it came from sitting around bored baking, and I just turned it into this thriving business that I really honestly never thought that. I mean, you've seen those shows, Cake Boss and all those, and I said, I'll never be that good. I'll never do that. But I have sat there on a Saturday afternoon and just baked cakes just for fun. Just baked cakes and decorated and tried out different things, and it ended up working. So that's my business. The future plans. Well, when I came back to STCC last semester, I entered the sports and entertainment management, and I'm actually in an event management class this semester, which is what I started out as volunteering today, and it's kind of changing my ideas. So I might want to take the event management and do something with my cakes. I'm not really 100% sure yet. what I want to do, but I'm hoping that my business will stay in business and people want to eat cake. Let them eat cake. I'm hoping we want to keep eating cake. So keep eating cake. I got you. Okay. So basically my story is just you can do whatever you want. If you want to, like Katie said, if you want to do it, do it. Just, you never know what can happen. You could fall flat on your face and fail, and that could be the end of it. You get back up and start something else, or you could thrive and become rich, like Katie wants to. Katie says she wants to be when she grows up.
When I knew she was coming, I would have baked her a cake. But boom. Thank you very much. And one thing I do tell my entrepreneurship students is that is what separates entrepreneurs from others, is that they in fact take action. And I think we've kind of heard that from both our speakers so far, and even the dean, just taking action can make all of the difference for entrepreneurs. So I am now, it is my great pleasure, I actually don't even know where to begin introducing Amber Chan. She has started multiple businesses, but her passion is social entrepreneurship. And she is the founder and owner of the Women's Peace Collection, as well as a founder of Prosperity Candle Company, but these are not her first ventures. And her personal story is amazing and interesting, as well as her business journey. So we haven't had her speak to this event for a few years now, I think, but she was one of our first speakers, and it's always my great pleasure to hear her tell her story and share it, and I think you'll really enjoy it as well. So I will now present Amber Chan.
Can you hear me? Well, firstly, I am so inspired by my two previous speakers. I mean, really, a woman who has such a sense of ambition and who had drive and was willing to work really hard. And I forget your name. I love cake, and I know cakes are the biggest thing on the market right now. So I think you have a great future. But you know, when I got the call from Diane maybe a week ago, and she said, you know, here's this wonderful gathering of young women and men, and the theme is creating your own future. And I was struck by that, because the idea that we all have a responsibility to our own lives, and that's really important to know. We have not come onto this planet, I feel, just to hang out for however long we're alive. We have come, each and every one of us, in this room, everywhere we see, has come with a purpose. Each of us has a purpose. And each of us has a gift to give to the world. So often we forget that. Or so often we are so down on ourselves and we just don't think we're good enough, or pretty enough, or intelligent enough, or rich enough. We spend so much of our energy thinking about what we are not, when in fact we could easily, in any given moment, spend that time thinking of what we are and what we have come to do. And I hope each of you today, after we've ended, will really seriously ask yourself, what is my gift? So my journey has been a challenging one, and yet it is out of those challenges, those difficulties, those moments of failing and falling and weeping, it was out of those moments that I, in my life, have received the gift of strength and perseverance and joy. I love my life. It is not an easy life, but I love every minute of it. I'm what you call a serial entrepreneur, a Serial entrepreneurs are the mad breeds of people who are constantly not only creating things, but actually making them happen. So I always have to watch myself, because when I have an idea, oh my God, I will do everything to manifest it. And I do. And sometimes it leaves me pretty tired, but that is why I love my life. So I was born in a country called Uganda. How many of you know where Uganda is, anyway? Do you know where it is? Where it was? My ex-husband, when he married me, when he first met me, thought Uganda was in South America. Actually, it's not. It's in East Africa. So I am an Indian woman born in East Africa. My name, Amber Chand, was given to me by my mother because Chand means moon, and at the birth of each of her children, she would go out to see or hear where was the moon the night of our birth. And on the night of my birth, there was a full moon. So my name, Amber Chand, means moon in the sky. I like my name, yeah. So I was born in this very, very beautiful country. It was tropical, it was breezy, and I grew up with a very, very happy childhood. My parents were quite wealthy. My mother was the first Indian woman lawyer in East Africa. My father was a lawyer, and we had a privileged life. But by the time I was 10, everything changed. It was during that time we had a very, very difficult political time in the country. There was a lot of conflict, there was a lot of concern about the politics of the country, and my parents felt that they had to send their children out of the country. So at the age of 10, I was sent to an English boarding school. The fact that I'm here to tell the story, somebody told me that it's actually character building to go to an English boarding school. There's a whole thing in England right now where they're doing recovery for people who've been through English boarding school, because they're actually pretty abusive and difficult and brutal, but I came out of it okay, I think. But that was difficult because I had to leave my country. Let's fast forward here to when I was 20 years old. I'm back in Africa. I'm back with my family. I'm in undergraduate school. I'm going to college. I'm getting my degree in anthropology. And life, like you, I'm 17 years old, 18 years old, and life is just beckoning me. And then it all changed again. And this time it was a radio program one afternoon in June 1972. At that time, our president was a man, a tyrant, a brutal tyrant by the name of Idi Amin. And Idi Amin got on the radio that afternoon and said these chilling words. Said, everybody of Indian origin who lives in my country must leave my country within 3 months, or you will be shot on sight. So 80,000 people had to literally, firstly we were numb by the thought of it, and had to pack up and leave our country. So that year, my family became refugees. We lost everything. The house on Kololo Street, the beautiful villa. My father's assets were frozen in the bank. My father actually left the country with $5 in his pocket, his raincoat, his 2 law books, and his packet of cigarettes. We lost everything. So from one moment where I was a young, privileged woman with, a great family, a wonderful home, by the time I was 21, I had done it. It had gone. So when the rug is pulled out from under your feet, you have 2 choices. One, you can decide to become absolutely victimized by it. You can become embittered. You can become defeated. You can become depressed. You can take to drink. You can take to anything. You have the choice. And this is an important jewel of a thought for you today. You have the choice to dictate the way your life is going to turn out. Nobody else has that choice for you. That is your freedom. So you can either go down the path of depression, defeat, or you can go down the other path. That's equally powerful. And that is the path of strength, forgiveness, love, joy. Which one are you going to choose? So that question was my question. So at the age of 21, I decided that there was a reason, there was a gift this had happened. Somehow I was going to find the reason. I was going to go into my life, and I was going to take this experience, but make something of my work. And indeed I did. Fast forward to 1998. I'm actually quite old now, really. Oh, wow. Yeah. 1998. This is when my entrepreneurial life started. You see, I've always been an independent sort. I've always had dreams, and I've always had a boldness. Because if you're going to be a dreamer, you really do need to have an element of boldness about you. You need to get up and take that into the world, even when you're afraid. And so in 1998, I had the extraordinary opportunity of starting up a company that nobody had ever started sort of a company of this sort. It was at the time when the internet was just beginning to emerge as a vehicle for e-commerce. eBay was just beginning, Amazon was also beginning, and this company that I started with a team of people called Iziba was a company that actually decided to launch and sell beautiful artisan-made products from around the world and bring them to American customers. It was an internet company, and within our first year, we had $40 million thrown at our feet by Amazon and venture capitalists. Now, when you have a vision of a dream of a company, whether it's making cakes or getting into insurance business, or in my world, it's the entrepreneurial e-commerce platform, it's wonderful to have a dream, but if within a year somebody throws $40 million at your feet and says, great, here you go, take it, you may think that's a wonderful thing to have. But actually, it is not. Just as when you start something and you're undercapitalized, the problem is equally bad when you're overcapitalized. You see, when you have a dream or a vision, it's like a seed. And you know when you plant a seed in your garden, you want to take the time to nourish it. You want to take the time to nurture it, to water it. And then the seed will grow in its own time. But if you come along and you pour a ton of stuff into it, whether it's just a lot of money in our case, the seed kind of withers because it's not being allowed to emerge in its own way, with its own strength. So what happened to us after a year, we were absolutely celebrated by media, by the PR companies. We had all this money. We had billboards in San Francisco and New York. I mean, we just had a lot. It was intoxicating. But we didn't really have the confidence in our own vision and mission as a company. That $40 million was the demise of the company. And within 7 years, that beautiful company that I had helped to co-found died, collapsed, and fell apart. And within 3 months, my co-founder partner died of a heart attack. So there was another challenge in my life. I was left with absolutely nothing. It felt like the refugee woman was back again. And this time it's like, okay, here we go again. One day you have a lot, and one day you have this magnificent company, and the next day you have nothing. So I spent quite a few months weeping. I was so demoralized by the failure of this company. But you see, I've learned something. Nothing is really a failure. It's just what we call it. It wasn't a failure because there were lessons to be learned. As long as you learn the lessons from the mistakes you make, you can look at those mistakes as gifts in your hand. Within 9 months, I made a decision to start my own company. And this time, not with $40 million, with my own capacity to sit at my dining room table. I had learned a lot in 7 years about how to build a company, how to create a company, how to take it to the world, And that is when I decided to create the Women's Peace Collection. But I wanted to do it in a very feminine way. I'm a woman, so I think like a woman. I'm a mother, I think like a mother. I'm a peace builder, so I think like a peace builder. So how does a woman like me start her own company without $40 million or a huge team of people? And I did. And so today you see this beautiful, I hope you'll all go on to your websites tonight and look at the Women's Peace Collection.com and see the beautiful gift made by women who are rebuilding their lives in places like Afghanistan, Rwanda, Darfur, anywhere. And my vision became very clear. I wanted to celebrate the global feminine. I wanted to support women in the world who are rebuilding their lives, just as I had to do once upon a time. Women who have nothing, but they have talent, they have gift. They're basket weavers, they're embroiderers, they're amazing. And so I began the journey of connecting with these women around the world and bringing their products to the Women's Peace Collection. I now have people in over 108 countries who come to the collection. I have we have about 10,000 people on our list who have been either buying from the company or are interested in what we have to say. And ultimately, hundreds and hundreds of women around the globe who are being supported by the company. So today I brought a basket. In it are little prosperity baskets. They are made by women in Rwanda who are widows from the genocide. If you remember in 2004 there was a terrible genocide no, that wasn't 2004, 1994. There was a terrible genocide in Rwanda. I went to Rwanda, I met with the women there. I sat in a circle with them, and we spoke about some of their products. And they have created these lovely little prosperity baskets. And so we have these here today. We also have, on the Women's Peace Collection, orphan bracelets. And we can talk about that at the end. I don't want to do an infomercial right now. But when you have a vision, when you begin to ask yourself, what is your dream? How do you want to take your gift into the world? You will begin to have that answer. For me, it's as a businesswoman. For me, it is helping women in the world. For me, it is celebrating beauty, whether it's through a beautiful shawl or a scarf or a basket. But you see, each of us has to come to that place ourselves. And as I look at you, at the sea of beautiful, beautiful faces, all young, all looking at the world from where you sit today, the world isn't a challenging place. The world that you know is collapsing in many ways. This is a difficult time. Doesn't mean that you're going to have a difficult time, but it does mean that we all have to be aware that this is a time when things that we thought would be easy, especially in this country, are actually falling apart. But you see, in the middle of collapsing, there's also the birthing of new stories. And I want you to all really know that each of you has come here today, at this time in our world, to bring your particular gift. Because I've been doing this work as a businesswoman so long, I have recently been asked by women to help them with their companies or help them as they go through their transition. So I've become a life and business coach. And I love this. I love sitting with my clients and really helping them first to get clear about what is their vision. Often I feel that we live in a culture where we are really not taught how to dream. We're taught how to cope with our problems and cope with our journeys, but we're not really taught how to dream. Because when, like Katie said, I want to be rich. Well, actually, yes, that's possible, but let's show you some techniques of how to take your dreams into the world. And there are some very powerful tools that can accompany you. So I'm just going to share with you a couple that I would love to offer you before you leave. One is the power of creative thought. Do you realize that the most powerful thing you have is your thought, the thoughts you think? What are the thoughts you think all day? Where do you go when you're walking down campus and you're just walking down and your thoughts are someplace? Because we're always thinking. We just think automatically. Are you thinking, oh God, I'm worried. Oh God, I don't know if this is going to happen. Oh my God, I'm just not good enough. What's my boyfriend going to say this evening? Oh my God, I'm just too overweight. What are you thinking? I want you to pay attention to your thoughts. After this lunch, I want you to think today, for the rest of the day, and for your future. Stop sometimes and just say, whoa, what am I thinking? What will help you is a little notebook, a journal on this journey. Because often we're in our thoughts and we don't even know what we're saying, we're drifting. So when you have a journal, someplace where you can take that thought and write it down, something is going to shift for you. We call them dream journals. So first, pay attention to your thought, because if your thought is, not Katie. Katie had very powerful thoughts. She had this vision of herself. She was going to do better. She was clear about something. And because of her clarity of thought, she was constantly feeding herself, nourishing herself with those thoughts. You can equally feed yourself with the thought of, I am great, I'm good enough, I can do this. I am going to create a beautiful life for myself. I am a beautiful woman. You can equally create those thoughts as you can the others. So let us pay attention to our thoughts and think positive. That's not fluffy. That's not just a fairy tale flighty little idea. Think positive. Be positive. See the light in the darkness. See the light in the darkness. Because the darkness can spiral you down, consume you. Those thoughts can defeat you. So when we pay attention to our thoughts, we can literally then begin to change the course of our lives. And that is what I did. That's the choices I made. Okay? So thoughts. Number two, when you start visioning your journey and how you would like it to be, you're going to find these resistances coming up. They always do. With all of us, we always have that voice that we know very well that tells us we can't do it. Oh, you can't do it. Oh, come on. What are you thinking? But in fact, it's like a garden. Your life is like a garden. If you keep focusing on the weeds will grow and grow and grow and take over your garden. But if you start clearing out those belief systems, and our belief systems are what holds us back or hold us on. Do you know what a belief system is? We all have thoughts that we have carried all our lives. What are your thoughts as I ask? The second thing is, all of us have these core beliefs. They're underneath. They keep us really captive. And so one of the things I do when I work with my clients is in getting down to the core beliefs, because that's where the change happens. Didn't Gandhi say, become the change and everything will shift around you? What did that mean? Don't expect the world around you to change. You change. You clear up your understanding of what it is you want to create, your vision, and then start building on it, cultivating it. I encourage you all to spend this whole week going through your favorite magazine and creating a vision board. A vision board is just a beautiful blank piece of paper. Go to your room and get these magazines and cut out of the magazine every image, every thought that is empowering you to create your dreams. Do you see yourself living by a river? Do you see yourself in 5 years having this great job? What is it? What is it you want to create? Because you can have it. You can absolutely have it. It will come true. It will. But it takes a certain discipline. So create your vision board. Cut out those pictures. And in front of you, you will have it. There are so many people who have done that in their lives, and 5 years later they go, oh my God. You know, I cut that thing out, I created this vision board, and everything I know has come true. But it takes persistence. Winston Churchill once had to get up in front of a large audience to give a speech. And he got up and he just said 3 words. And then he sat down. And the 3 words were, never give up. Never give up on your dreams, on who you are. Life will come and try and sap it out of you. People will say, oh, you can't do that. Doubts will creep up. Those are the weeds in the garden. Pay no attention to those. Focus, focus, focus on what it is you want to create. And it will emerge. So those are the jewels that I take. And I have 2 daughters in their 20s, by the way, and I work with them on these sort of thoughts. And sometimes they're like, Mom, that's not going to work. And I go, just be patient, because that's the other piece. We live in a very impatient world. We are always looking to have things like that. And if they don't happen instantly, we get bored. We're very restless. Very restless. So what would it be like to be patient? To know that a year from today, working towards a year plan, where do you want to be a year from today? And as Katie said, you find your support system. If it's internships, you find them. If you start first, it starts with a dream. And ultimately, I would love to invite you all to have a phenomenal life based on what it is you love. Do you know what you love? If I was to ask you in this moment, can you write down for me 10 things that you love? Sometimes we don't even know what we love. 10 things about what you love. Write that list down. Tonight, in your home, write down everything that you love. Because that is going to be the foundation of your life. But most of the time, we don't pay attention to that because we don't think it's important. We somehow don't buy into the fact that what you love is what you will create. So I look at all of you as jewels with lots of gifts, lots of things that you love. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to yourself. And see what emerges. A year from now, it would be great to see where each and every one of you are if you take these steps. And there are lots of books and resources, and you can Google all this, so there's so much there to support you. But please never give up on yourself. See yourself as a gift you are. I see that. See yourself as the light that you are, and shine it in the world. The world needs you. The world needs you. So I was just reminded about the stories. I have brought for you 3 things. One is little dream journals that you can actually purchase for $10. And they are beautiful batik journals made by women who had an earthquake that destroyed their lives in Western India. This was 3 years ago. And the women today are making these beautiful little journals with tree-free paper. No paper is used. They take cotton rags and they process them in such a way that they create these really thick, fabulous paper. So it's an environmentally eco-friendly product, and it impacts the lives of these women. So I brought the human journal. The little baskets from Rwanda. These are what you put secrets in. In Rwanda, this is what they do. They put little notes in. If you have a boyfriend, if you want to give something to, little notes in. Or you put little flowers in, or you put an ornament. But this is made by the Rwandan women, and it is their symbol of their hopes and dreams. So this is 2 for $5. And last, this is something I just launched from the collection. It's called the Orphan Bracelet. It's made of recycled PVC. There are 2 million orphans in South Africa who lost their parents. to HIV/AIDS. They're being brought up by their grandmothers. They have nothing. And if you go onto the Women's Peace Collection, you'll see some amazing movies about this. And so we are having these orphan bracelets. I'm working with UntilThere'sACure.org. Until There's a Cure is a major national organization that is supporting AIDS and helping people around the world, especially orphans. And so these are also here today, and there's $15. So this is something that you'll find on the Women's Peace Collection. What my work is always is to find organizations that are doing amazing work in the world to support and alleviate the suffering of our planet. And on the Women's Peace Collection, you'll always find those gifts that impact lives, but they're also pretty fabulous. So those are my 3 gifts today, and I can take cash, credit cards, checks, whatever. And the candle story, I didn't bring the candle, the Jerusalem Candle Code. One of the major, gosh, I've had it for 4 years now. You see, when there's a war and there's conflict, it creates such pain. So, what was it? 7 years ago, I went to Jerusalem, and I decided I wanted to create a product that would support Palestinian and Israeli women. Nobody had done this before. And so, with a team of people, we went to Jerusalem, and we decided to create a candle. So we went to Nazareth in Israel, and we met with a candle making facility, and we created these luminary candles. They're hollow. You put a little tea light in them, and the tea light shines through. And the luminary candles are made of natural beeswax, and in them are olive leaves and everlasting flowers dried up inside the luminary. Very, very beautiful. So the Israelis made this. Then we went across the checkpoints to Palestine and into Bethlehem. And there we found some embroiderers. And these women made these little bags for us, little embroidered bags. And the tea light goes into the bag. The women have never met each other. The Israeli and Palestinian women have never met. So what happens is when the Palestinian women make the bags, they put them on a truck, and the truck goes across the checkpoints into Israel and drops the bags at the factory. And then the Israeli women take the bags, put the little tea lights, and then pack it all up and ship it to New York. And in New York, the UPS people clear it, and then they bring it to my warehouse in Agawam. So this is an amazing symbol of peace to women's hands. And when you're on the collection, you will notice that there are all sorts of ways in which we are trying to bring a new vision to the world, to show people that what is possible. So just as that was my dream, here I know that each of you has a dream, an idea, a thought that you want to take into the world that will better our world. So I think that's...
I could keep asking questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me in the back of this? Yes, you can hear the back?
Yes.
All right, it is now time for questions and answers, and I hope that you are prepared to ask questions. We have 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll be serving lunch for you all to ask whatever you would like to ask. We can pass the mic up here. We have Dean Edelman, who can answer any questions about STCC, the programs here. She actually, in professional life, is an attorney that worked in corporate law. Sabrina, who is a lesson in just showing up and taking action. I mean, that's kind of amazing that she would volunteer and say, your speaker's in the hospital, I own a business, how about if I jump in? That's pretty amazing. I think we should clap again for her. But again, I think that's what life is. And you know, who is it that said that's 3/4 of life is showing up, all right? And Katie, who told you about her career starting in high school, which is pretty interesting because she gave you some concrete steps that you can take. And then Amber's moving story about the collections that she's building and the journey she's had both personally and professionally. So I do hope you all will have some questions and they can pass the mic and answer whatever you got. So when you ask the question, you're going to have to shout so people can hear you. So I will field questions. Yes.
what made you think of actually creating the name Lulu's for Lulu's Bakery?
So the question is, where did you come up with the name Lulu's for the bakery?
Actually, it is named after my mom. Her middle name is Lou. Okay, so see, I don't know if people call you Lulu. That's what people call my mom Lulu for her whole life. Is it's my mom actually passed away from breast cancer, so it was kind of my way of, my way of dedicating it to her.
So the name is dedicated. Can you hear the remote mic in the back? Could you hear her answer?
Hello, can you hear me?
No, can you hear that at all?
Can you hear me now?
No, I only have one volume button, so apparently something's going on.
It's on.
All right. All right, we'll have them try and speak up as well, or come to the mic. I don't know, we can't get this one off here. Technical challenges. First a speaker challenge, now a technical challenge. So when you're putting on events in life, be prepared. That's all I have to say. Next question. Don't be shy. I always have questions. Go ahead.
I was asked to bake a wedding cake yesterday. Do you have a card so I can pass it on?
Well, considering I literally didn't know about this until like an hour ago, I do not, but I can give you my information. Okay.
All right, and I can send out the information. Everyone should be registered on Eventbrite. If you're not, we can probably post-register you, and I can send out any details that you're looking for. So, another question. Yes?
Are you looking for anything?
Really good question.
That's a really good question. The question is Katie looking for any
And
interns?
answer that, I can tell you that we had an intern in our office last summer, and she was great. She assisted us, a couple of the agents in the office, and if you go to, Liberty Mutual is a huge corporation. We operate in all of the U.S. We have offices in all the states, and we operate in, oh gosh, I don't know the number, but we operate in many countries as well. We keep trying to get down to the Hawaii office, I don't know if we're ever going to get there, but so my point is that, I don't know if all of you or some of the college students are from this area or not, but you can go to the libertymutual.com website, and we have a huge summer internship program, and you can apply there, and they can connect you with an office in your town. Like my office is out of Long Meadow, but we have offices in Connecticut. We have about 35 offices in Massachusetts. So they will kind of hook you up with an office and find where there's an opening. But maybe we can talk to you if you're interested. Talk to them. Okay.
So I'm going to actually jump in with a question for Amber, because I know that she's tried a number of different business models as she developed her businesses, and largely started online with Aziva. I remember when Aziva was first started. But you've done different things like home parties and different kind of awareness building. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, even though I'm an online company, the whole point was how do we build a brand around an online company that nobody knows? Ultimately, you're trying to get your customers to really trust that when they buy from you online, the product that they receive is going to be wonderful, right? Especially with these global gifts, people are always like, oh my God, this may fall apart or whatever. So one of the things I did was I started developing a house party model where I would actually personally go to these house parties, and they were wonderful because I had a chance to share with people the stories behind the products, because this is not just a basket or a bracelet or a scarf, and you can get those anywhere. So, how do we actually get people to see the products, meet me, hear the story, and then they feel very confident by going to the website and buying from there. So that was part of our strategy. And now I have a strategy where I'm 5 years old. I'm now working with my retail partners. I actually don't buy inventory, which is interesting. I'm building out an entire model where rather than investing in inventory, which is expensive, my retail partners send me the products. We have them in our warehouse, and then as they sell, I pay them. So this is actually a new way of dealing with a no inventory model for online. So it's very, I think the point is when you have a business, you're always refining it, tweaking it, adjusting it, adapting it. Otherwise, the business plan sinks. So, I think I did it. Oh, did you get the card with me? Oh, Diane loves the story. There's so many stories.
I could hear them forever.
I love it. These are made in Uganda, my country. And again, we have women who are refugees creating these fabulous baskets, and they're really stunning. Fruit baskets, perfect baskets for wedding gifts, things like that. And, you know, they're just really, really beautiful. So I try and curate everything on the collection. And when you buy from the collection, it'll go out in a little gift box. And every gift box comes with a little bell, a tiny little copper bell. And the copper bell used to be part of a landmine. In Cambodia, these landmines that have been disused, the villagers would take these landmines and take them to these foundries and melt them and then make them into bells for their cows. And so from the Women's Peace Collection, we'll always send you a gift tied with a little cowbell, a landmine shell. So from a symbol of war to a symbol of peace. But again, you know, when you have your vision clear, you kind of, everything sort of falls in place. So you have to kind of just keep being clear about what you're trying, what your message is.
All right, other questions? Questions? I always come prepared with questions, so I would ask the panel, and each person on the panel, did you have that aha moment about this is absolutely right for me? And I actually am a person who came here as a faculty only a few years ago and have done a number of different things. So I feel like it took me my whole entire lifetime to get at my aha moment and find something that I just wake up and love to go do. So I think at any point in your life, you're going to have those kinds of moments, and creating as many great experiences along the way. I'm a big believer in lifelong education, whether it's workshops or learning another language or traveling or taking a class here or there. You will always find some way to enhance what it is you do in life, or just make yourself more interesting, meet some different people at different places. So I'm a big believer. But I guess, Dean Edelman, we'll start with you. Did you have an aha moment moving from being a corporate attorney to the educational world? We'll try the mic just to see.
Can anyone hear this?
Yeah.
Yes? I moved from corporate law into higher education, and I started teaching. And I know that in class, in teaching business law courses and some other commercial law courses, I always enjoyed the teaching part of my responsibilities, because you had that aha moment when you saw students, a little light go on in students' eyes, or they become enthusiastic about something, and you feel that you're helping someone else achieve their dreams and goals, or at least helping turn them on to some kind of course or intellectual material that may help them have an aha moment down the road. So I think that was probably one, and maybe it was naive, but I figured as a dean I would have the opportunity to make even more aha moments. Well, I do, I suppose, but it's by working with faculty members and not working with students as directly. But we've accomplished a lot of new programs at the college, and I did at the previous college I was associated with. So I think that paves the way for learners. So I read something interesting lately, and it said, do you remember who won the World Series in 1985 or 1990? Do you remember who Miss America was? And there were a lot of other questions. Do you remember the year the internet became of age? And the answer to those is no. Most people don't remember that. But the last question is, do you remember the teacher who motivated you most? And everybody usually has one or two names. So I think teaching is a great gift. In the words of the astronaut who perished in the Challenger disaster, came from Framingham, Massachusetts, one of her oft-quoted phrases was, I teach, I touch the future. And it's true, you're touching a generation of students.
Thank you. Sabrina, your aha moment.
Okay, I did have my aha moment, and it actually happened on my son's second birthday when I made his cake for the next year. So it took me a year to have my aha moment, but I had made him a Winnie the Pooh cake, and it was a 3-tiered cake, and I made everything myself, and I literally cried when they cut it because I was so upset because it was so perfect and it came out so amazing. And that's kind of when I was like, oh my God, I can do this, and I got good at it. And that's what I do.
So when will we be seeing you on the Food Network or on Cake Bus?
You're next week.
The next step.
I'll try.
Katie?
This is a great question because, as I mentioned in my speech, I kept trying and doing different things. And growing up in this community, most of the larger businesses are insurance companies. And I always had that sort of vision when I graduated high school and then got into college that working for one of these big corporations was what I really wanted to do. And being that we live in a thriving community of insurance companies, I decided this insurance is probably going to be my thing. The hard part was actually finding the type of insurance, position in insurance that really intrigued me or that I really enjoy. I feel that my skill set in life is relationship building and talking to people, so I knew that I needed to be in sales. And that was the piece of insurance that needed to be. So that when I first took that job at Liberty Mutual, I was a little apprehensive because making money for me is building relationships and meeting new people. And am I going to be able to do this and sustain a living this way? So I'd say probably after my first year in insurance, I said, yeah, this is definitely something I'm really good at and it's something I can do. And my customers like me, and I'm educated, and I know what I'm talking about, and I'm really helping people, and I'm educating them about, protecting their assets and the things that they have. So that's where I.
They do occur. Amber?
This is a hard question.
I'm stumping the panel. Did you notice that?
Yeah, what is my aha moment? Like one moment? I don't know. But I do feel that because I'm Ugandan, Indian, educated in England, so much of my being is very global. And because of that, it's always been whenever my vision is always to connect people to the globe and to make people comfortable with Africa, with India, with all these places and places I'm talking about. So in a way, I think my aha moment comes every time I'm traveling and meeting people in their villages, etc., sitting with them, hearing the stories, and understanding that we're all one humanity, we're all one planet. And that's what gives me my motivation.
Excellent, thank you. Amber, actually, I think in the first year she presented, said something that just has stuck with me for however many years now. And you'll be, what did I say? She said, when goods cross borders, guns don't. And I just thought, it was an aha moment for me. So she was talking about where she has all of her goods coming from, and the women in these post-conflict regions and regions of active conflict. I thought that was magnificent. So that was an aha for me. I found an amazing clip on YouTube that I thought was perfect for today. See our big screen? No, we don't have any YouTube here. So I decided that I would transcribe what it had on it. But you can look it up on YouTube, and it's called Woman, Thy Name is Entrepreneur. William Shakespeare once said, woman, thy name is frailty. Once upon a time, women were considered too weak for business because they were nurturing, sensitive, passionate, and emotional. But today, women are pioneers in entrepreneurship precisely because they are nurturing, sensitive, passionate. Women are housewives, women are nurses, women are secretaries, women are teachers, and athletes, architects, engineers, bloggers, lawyers, doctors, scientists, photographers, police officers, veterinarians, brokers, firefighters, race car drivers, astronauts. In fact, 40% of all private firms are owned by women. That is 10 times more than they owned 30 years ago. 98 million blogs in the world are written by women. In 2009, women earned 50.4% of all PhDs. Currently, women are starting home businesses at twice the pace of men. Women are exceeding the expectations once held of them. Women are changing our world as entrepreneurs, and you can too. The truth is, you have the power, the will, and the creativity. You can be whatever you want to be. And it's not a giant leap of faith, it's just one step at a time. What are you going to do to make your idea a reality? Tap into your network, find a mentor via URL, volunteer with an organization, or research courses. The day you take the first step is the day you become an entrepreneur. So today, rather than William Shakespeare's "Woman, thy name is frailty," we can say, "Woman, thy name is entrepreneur." So I just thought that was perfect. I do want to offer my most sincere thanks to our speakers. I thought they did a wonderful job sharing their stories, and we're honored to have shared those stories with them. They are wonderful examples of nurturing, sensitive, and passionate women in business who give selflessly of their time and talent. Let's have a round, warm of applause for our We will have a chance to continue to network them throughout the luncheon. We put spots at different tables for wherever they can be embedded amongst the tables so that you have the chance to meet them personally and speak with them. We are going to have a volunteer up here who will assist with, if you're interested in purchasing some of Amber's goods that she brought. They're available online, and they have contact information. We also printed out some more detailed information about Amber's coaching practice and about her, just her bio, which is an extended bio, which is so interesting. I want to thank our student volunteers who are here today. We see Sabrina's up front, and Kate, and we have Stephanie, and Russ, and our videographers in the back, Sean, and a new person whose name I didn't even get yet. But I want to thank them. They volunteered today. And I hope that you have enjoyed what you've heard and you'll continue to network. We're going to call up table start. We'll start with the 2 tables in the back for a change instead of starting at the front. And the buffet is set up here for you. They're surprised because I almost always go from the front. And enjoy the rest of the luncheon and take advantage of this time to do some networking. We'll let you know as it's time for the tables to go forward. Thank you.
Well, the problem for me is I've had many aha moments. Yes. I think, you know, a lot of people something puts in their head that this is the thing I want to do. For me, I have many different things I want to do. With my daughter, I feel it's much more clear for her to get the right combination of things to understand what she wanted to
Okay, the next 2 tables at the back can go up. Oh, okay.
Sorry. I'm good.
our department. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the next 4 tables. Next 4 tables.
Go to the back. It's like table. Because then you can take care of that inspiring teacher. Say, this I don't know. There you go.
They bought a house to live in Happy. Right before high school was. Right on the so just say.